the South Stand, the Shelf, Sydney, Seattle, Seoul, and everywhere in between. It's oh so Spurs.
It's a victory, Deej. It's a victory.
About time.
Yes, that was Rob Daly introducing us on the pod. Legend for doing that audio clip for us, Rob. Oh, it's going again. I need to pause that.
Nice, got to do it twice.
We could just put it on drone in the background the whole time. Nothing can kill my mood right now. We've been bleating the positivity music and the drum in the belief that when these players come back, things are going to start to turn. And it felt like, well, we lost one guy to injury, but key players returned and performances, unsurprisingly, seemed to dramatically improve. And not only that, Academy, Deej, these young players.
Oh, yes. Finally. I mean, like, it was, what was it, a season or 2 seasons? 2 seasons ago where we won our Academy team was cooking, and then a bunch of the players have kind of got stuck in limbo between the first and second team. And I mean, it's kind of annoying because, like, on the one hand, you're like, you want those players to get consistent minutes at like a loan out, but then also those players that were that were in that limbo period are Scarlett and Ajayi and Olusesi played in the last Europa League game, and there's a lot of talent in the academy.
There's so much talent in the academy, and they're all getting minutes. And Sean the Gooner Slayer, though, thank you so much, mate. You keep the show alive with your generosity. You help us greatly. And I hope you all enjoyed how we've reinvested into getting some great guests on recently. So you should check out, as we had Pochettino's, Redknapp's, AVB's, and Ange Postecoglou's coach on in an interview. And you can find that on the channel.
Like a full room.
Yeah, it was. But it was all one guy because he did the whole thing. But just for clarity. Yeah. But thank you, Shawnee boy. Yeah, it was just so... There's something so much more special about your academy players scoring a goal, isn't it? And winning a game. And we were all saying, as Spurs fans, like, all we need now to make this perfect is Mikey Moore to score a goal. And what happens? Mikey Moore, incredible. Absolutely loved it. Hey, Si. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you, David. Smiling. Hello, mate. Hope you're all well. I'm guessing that's Ross in there. Mate, as I said, it took me 3 years to grow the stubble. It's not going anywhere. I'm not waiting 3 years to grow it back. Hey, Gary Becks, good to see you. Yeah, great game. Boxer Toby. 3 of our own. 3 of our own. That's right, Deej. We haven't got 1 of our own anymore. We got 3 of our own and kind of like 7 halves of our own that we bought young.
Yeah, I was scrolling through Twitter after the end of the game for the first time in a while, because like it's been a while since we've been able to celebrate at the end of a game, and I saw someone made a post. I don't remember who said it, but it made me laugh that these young players like Scarlett and Moore and Ajayi are putting the old guard like Bearval and Gray to shame.
Yeah, they are. The younger players do put the old guard to shame. The old boys like Lucas Bearval. David Clark, not taking anything away from the 3 Spurs youngsters, 3 great goals and great for Spurs' future. But that team we played tonight, yeah, they are not a high quality team. But when you are playing your 2nd, 3rd, and 4th string players in positions, and you have to win in a European game to avoid, how many times have we seen Tottenham get a draw there when it's 0-0 at 70 minutes, and then have to play a playoff, and then have all the implications that go to that, and we go, oh my gosh, this is so Spursy. It just feels a little bit more like we've got a manager who knows how to see through cups, and you cannot knock him for the way he rotated today as well. You got key players off after 45 minutes. I think the Dragusin injury is very unlucky considering it only just come on as well. So yeah, everyone needs to stop being miserable and really soak in these cups. Enjoy them. Like reaching the last 16 of Europe, most teams never get to experience that. Like, the majority of teams in the Premier League and Championship and League One who have got huge clubs never get to see that. And we just get it and we're like, oh, well, it's only Elfsbourg. Like, no, that's awesome. And we're in the semi-final of a League Cup. A lot of teams get that like once every like 20, 30 years. We've got it coming right now. We're still in the FA Cup. There's so much to be, optimistic about. We've got nothing to play for in the league. So, Deej, what I reckon, what do you think? We just try win 2 or 3 of our next 5, and then just
I
bin
was
off the
gonna say
league.
2 or 3 for the rest of the season. I was gonna
Yeah,
say
2 or
that's
3 out of the next 5,
that's a
6,
bit
7 games, and then just bin it off and just go for the cups. Just go all in on the cups.
it'd be nice to do that, but I don't wanna leave anything to chance. Sai made a great point in the chat there that they were fighting for a playoff spot and stranger things have happened. I mean,
Mhm.
like, just because you don't like just because a team isn't playing in a top 5 league doesn't mean that they're not, like, playing well. Like, Olympiacos finished in 7th in the Europa League table. Bodo Glimt finished in 9th. FCSB, finished in 11th and were
Mhm.
playing United close for the first 60 minutes of the game. So, like, these aren't wins you necessarily take for granted.
Yeah.
And I mean, even Elfsbourg were no slouches either. I mean, their most recent Europa League game, they beat Nice, who obviously did not have the best Europa League campaign, but are still a pretty large club in a top 5 league and aren't
Yeah.
a bit scoff at either.
I mean, we finished the game with, was it Sarr at left wing back? Like, just to show what little we were working with. And we still managed to make that game relatively comfortable.
Sarr at left back and 3 academy prospects along the front 3, basically,
Yeah.
depending on where you put Kulusevski. I would say he probably finished the game in midfield. We had Moore on the left, Ajayi on the right, and Scarlett in the middle.
It's so exciting because when these other players come back, how strong does the bench look now? When you don't even think like Timo Werner, just go back to Leipzig, just go away because we've got these amazing youngsters now, and you're using up that spot for them. Whereas before, you'd be like, who the hell is Ajayi? This guy who's just now we're like, I want him to play more. He's great. Give him more minutes. I know that's a bit overly getting a bit carried away in the moment, but still, I can think of 6 or 7 players in our squad now that I almost can't think of a price I would take for them because I don't think you would find like Berryval, Gray, Moore, even Saar, Van der Ven, Udogi, Kinski. Like, how much are these guys worth? Like, you wouldn't take if anyone offered 50 million quid for any of those. I don't think I'd take it. And they're all in our squad with just these ridiculously high ceilings. Or am I being insanely carried away beating a team who's still not even hit their preseason yet?
I mean, I think it's probably who am I to tell you not to get carried away? We need some happiness, and if that comes from beating Elfsborg, that comes from beating Elfsborg.
Yeah.
To answer the question from Clark about paying 60 million for a 19-year-old winger. Well, first of all, from what I understand, the 60 million is not all in. That's including clauses and whatnot. So I'm assuming the final value, if he doesn't hit his like peak, what he is expected to be, will probably be a lot lower too. We haven't even signed him yet. Like I think he's good, and I think that there's like a lot of. I mean, he's been like he's insanely talented, even though he might not be a starter at Bayern. If he were a starter at Bayern, we would not be able to acquire him. But he was bought with the
Exactly.
purpose to eventually be a starter at Bayern. And I'm assuming you're talking about Mikey Moore, the 17-year-old who's tailor made for that left wing spot. I guess it could have just been the game, but I thought that Moore actually looked a little bit better at right wing today, and that might just be because he was feeling more comfortable. But I thought he tapered off a little bit in the second half. That might have been also because might have gotten tired or whatnot. But he's I think the good thing about both of those players is they're both able to play off both wings,
Yeah.
and that's a really valuable skill set. And the other thing about Tell is he can also play down the middle, even though I'm not sure that's his best position right now. Who knows? Maybe his body fills out a little bit more as he matures a little bit, and he becomes a good number 9 as well.
Well, we had a good chat with Vince Regari last night, didn't we? The author of Ange, great book, by the way. And you can see the episode on our YouTube channel if you want to watch that. But he was saying how the difference was that what Ange had at Celtic and when he was in Australia and in Japan was relative to his league, he had 6 solid forward options. And those 6 players could typically rotate left wing, right wing, or through the middle. And therefore, he could constantly cause chaos. Those players can rotate, they can swap out. There's always energy in that front 6. Whereas at Spurs, he was left a little short in those front positions. He didn't go into a season expecting Johnson to be his only right winger. He expected Johnson to be one of his right wingers. He expected Werner to be like a third choice utility player across the front three, not a key player. He didn't expect to end it with Solanke and Richarlison never being fit. So all these things kind of happened and it really impacted the team. But if we get Tell in, suddenly you've got Mikey Moore, Tell, Son, Solanke, Richarlison. You're getting there, right? You've got 5 good forward options of pretty versatile players. All of them can play at least 2 positions, at least, which opens the door to so much more rotation and ways you can mix up the game.
And especially with the way that Ange likes to play with high intensity, especially on the wings, we're moving past the point where like before like I think an underrated change that's happened in football recently is the move to 5 subs consistently instead of the 3 that we're kind of all used to. And like that just allows you to be able to say, hey, go run as hard as you can for 60 minutes. And then we're going to take you off. And then someone else can come on and finish the last 30 and keep running as hard as they can. But you don't want that level to drop like as that much. Like so like I think that he's the kind of signing that even if we didn't need a winger, I would want us to make. And because I think we still kind of do, especially with like, you know, Werner's injured, and also I'm not gonna say anything negative because we just won, so I'm not gonna but you know, everyone has their own opinion on Timo Werner. So like
I think everyone's the same opinion. So I don't think it's being negative. I think we'd all rather see 60 million quid dropped, okay, with all the add-on stuff, say 40 million quid dropped on Tell and be like, let's take a punt on this 19-year-old and give Mikey more minutes and just send Timo Werner back, right? That can't be negative.
And especially if Ange is comfortable starting more in that right wing spot, that's kind of, I think, a bigger need for us right now. Obviously Tell can play there as well if he thinks that more is more suited to start to playing on off the left. But especially with Werner or with Johnson injured and Kulusevski having I don't know how his legs are still attached to his body at this point, but getting people in who can play this position is good. But because right now, realistically, our only backup winger is Moore, if I'm correct. And then obviously like academy prospects like Ajayi, which is why he got minutes today. But we kind of have to keep players like Ajayi. I don't want to say captive at the club, but they have to stay because we don't have, if we send them on loan to like further their development, like we did with Yang, who, I mean, the reason obviously he got sent out on loan is because he can't play in the Europa League. So there's not, we can't put him on the bench there. Oh, yeah. Interesting. Lancashire's going out on loan.
Oh, well, hopefully that's a good sign that someone's coming in.
That would, the one slight negative about today is that Scarlett has to stay. He can't go back out on loan because he can't play for 3 separate clubs in a season. Well, so because he's played for us, that means that he's stuck with us, which it isn't the end of the world. It's good. He's I would say that we've had our fair share of players who have had loans that went poorly, and then we recall them, and then they score for us pretty soon after getting recalled. I don't remember any of the players off the top of my head, but I hear one of them's talking to Matisse telling him to Tottenham right now, I hope.
Yeah. And 4th means we get the second leg at home. Yeah, I think we do indeed. Yeah. And we're obviously in the top seed now. So yeah, we get a lot more advantages in this new model for finishing where we're finished. So yeah,
yes, finishing really 4th was very good.
Big upside. I recognize there's people in the picture there, Deej. Then we've got Gary Becks. It's just David quickly. I supported Spurs since 1960, so I've seen all the great players since then and seen us win trophies home and away. Lucky you, David. We have not. So
I wish.
Excuse us if we get overly excited. Well, actually,
for a win against Elfsbourg.
Like, this is our heritage. The Europa League is our heritage. We haven't won the Champions League, but we've won the European Cup, the Europa League twice. It is a part of our DNA as a club. Arsenal as a club typically falter in Europe. I don't want to jinx this, But it's just one of those things we need to keep going as a club in terms of just having that over them, because we've got a long way to go in terms of catching up in league titles, especially when you've got a Man City in the way of you. So we need to really keep going with this cup. And Devine, Vuskovic, Donnelly, and Abbott. Oh, we've got we recorded an interview today with Devine and Vuskovic, by the way. So we'll be releasing that on Monday. That was Elias, who's a friend of the show. He's a journalist in Belgium, and he got access to the players, and he's recorded that. So subscribe if you'd like access to that. And if you want to help the show, keep bringing on awesome guests. Like we brought Anton McElhone, who was Pochettino and Ange's coach on. We've got Vince Rigari last night. We've got an interview with the players coming up. We give this all early to our members because you help us grow. We reinvest all the money into growing the show and having great guests. We focus on highest quality guests possible, no knee-jerk reactions. So that would be hugely appreciated if you want to support the show. And if you don't, enjoy the free stuff. It's there for you. Yang, Dane tied Timo's goals tally for the season already. That's crazy.
Well, so did
Dane has tied
Moore and Jai,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
If I'm understanding that correctly.
Yeah. Oh, that picture gives me some heartbreak though, seeing Kane in that. I like that away shirt as well. I'm so nervous about the semi story of my life. We go to probably the toughest place in the Premier League, supposed to never do anything. Yeah, it's ampled away. You go expecting nothing, hoping for everything. I think that's the way you've got to go. For
dares to do or something like that. I don't know. I hear that was our club motto once.
Yeah.
It was to dares to build hotels.
Yeah. Well, look, it's if we're spending £60 million on a 19-year-old, it's working.
It is.
So
I feel like we're having like an off again, on again conversation with Mr. Clark. And I'd like to go to his point about not needing babysitters and needing experienced players. I think what he meant to say is we don't need more babies, because babysitters, I think, would be the experienced players. But I agree to an extent that we need that. Experience is something that I would say it's not necessarily the experience itself that's the good thing, but it's the way that your personality is molded by the experiences that you have. So one, Tell has already won. He's been a part of a title-winning squad. He was his first season at Bayern. They won the Bundesliga. Obviously, that doesn't really mean much, but he knows what it means to be around a winning squad. And also, just because a player's young doesn't mean that they can't be like a positive, like a winning, impact, have a winning impact on the dressing room. Look at Kulusevski. I think he's probably one of our club's best speakers, and he's 24. We've had so many conversations, and people even outside of the club have been like, wow, look at Archie Gray. He's like future England captain material, and he's 18. So like, I understand. I understand what you're saying. But I would hesitate to write off a player's like emotion and drive just because they're younger. And by all accounts, Tell is a pretty driven character and seems to have the personality. I would, to use a colloquialism, he passes the Ange test in terms of personality from what I've heard. And that's something that's a huge plus for me.
It's also just been so long since I've been excited by players in our squad. Like we've tried it, right? We've tried let's get Richarlison, let's get James Maddison, let's get Ndombele, let's get Lo Celso, let's get these ready-made players for like £50 million ish each, and then they're the ones that Man City and Liverpool and Chelsea and even Arsenal didn't want, but they're the best of the rest, and let's go try win stuff for them. I way prefer the idea of the next Gareth Bale, an Archie Gray, a Lucas Berryvale, a Sarr, and then going big on a Tell. Like, we don't have to always go cheap. I'm not saying that. I'd rather go big on a 19-year-old with a massive upside and witness the growth and have the patience and the time for that player than just try and go and buy a Vlahovic, and because they're a big name who's been very inconsistent and might completely flop, and you'll never be able to sell and be on huge wages. Because we're not Man City, we can't just do that as easily and then just 100 million on Grealish for the vibes and then just swallow it. Like, that just paralyzes us for the next transfer window. Different game for us. Different game.
Yes.
Harry Kane rates Tell highly. That's good enough for me, and hopefully Harry Kane's brother is his agent too. That's what I'd say.
If Harry Kane's brother's his agent, he's never leaving Bayern.
True. But maybe we could sign him on a gentleman's agreement or something. Good to see you, Nate. No one should complain about spending money on a winger right now. I agree. We need one. Oh, sure, mate. You need to stop being so generous. Thank you. Son looked back to his best because, as Deej is saying, he was clearly sent out to run himself into the ground. No one can question Sonny's work ethic, can they, Deej? What?
No, but I do think that I'm sure Ange before the game said, "Son, you're getting 45 minutes." So Son was unable to expend more of his energy because currently Son probably like he's played like every game basically for like a while. And we're playing like 2-3 games a week, and it's just that's crazy that like especially as like a winger, like that's almost suicidal.
Mhm.
Like you cannot play that much without like running yourself into the ground. So by letting him know that it's your 45 minutes, he was able to expend more energy into taking his man on doing those 1v1s. And obviously, yes, it's Elfsbourg. But I think I saw him take on his man more in this one game than like I've seen like for the past few months, like since the injury crisis really started. And that's an exciting sign for me. And if we can continue to if once we get some depth back and we're able to like let Son play for 45, 60 minutes instead of having to play 90 every time he runs out, I think that'll improve our levels a lot.
Yeah, agree. And Sean's got another question. 22-year-old can be a leader in a team of 18-year-olds. Yeah, I don't think age. And Sean, mate, you've not just bought us a beer; you bought the whole pod crew a beer. So thank you so much. And when you come back to watch a game at White Hart Lane, the beers are on us, mate. So thank you so much. But you know, Ange said this before: experience isn't an age thing. Experience is a personality thing, and it's about someone being comfortable with the role and responsibility of leadership. And it's that naturally comes with an aura that you go, that person's really confident in this environment when I don't feel confident, and I'm going to follow that person who knows what to do and remains calm and stoic in this place. So look, I don't care how old our captain is, as long as it's the right personality type, personally. But Yvonne had a question for us. Deej, I like the news. Yeah, do you like this new European style of the old one?
I do. I like it a lot better. I mean, like, I know it didn't happen, but what other would we ever have worried about Manchester City going out at the halftime of the last game in the previous season, and now their reward for scraping through the group is playing what like Bayern Munich or Real Madrid. I don't know if the draws happened yet, but like I do think that this is good. I think that especially with the fixture congestion issues that every league in the world has, I think it's a massive incentive to give those top 8 a game off, which is why we like actively played today instead of, sitting back. There was only like one team in each side that was in both the Europa League and the Champions League that was safe going into the final day, I believe. So that's really there might have been a few more in the Champions League. I haven't been watching it as closely because Tottenham's not there. But I do think that this system is a lot better. Maybe not a lot better. Both have merits, but I think it's more
better.
exciting for me.
Yeah.
Also, having 18 games going on at the same time is so much fun.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Having the
Watching
Tottenham game
live
up
tape.
on the monitor and then having the goal zone show up on the other
Yeah.
monitor, that's just
You're just flexing your American subscription services where you get to view all the games, and where they're paying 20 quid for one channel that has one game and 20 quid for another that has another. The closer you are, the more expensive it is. Great guest you're bringing on. Yvonne says, thank you. Yes, we've had some awesome guests on. Anton and Vince, our class author of Ange and Postecoglous, head of sports science from Celtic. And as we said, Vuskovic and Divine interviews, the Spurs players. We've interviewed them today, and we've got that coming up for you. Hopefully release that on Monday. And thanks to Elias, who conducted that, who's a Belgian journalist for us. What a legend for doing that. Great guy. Slaying it. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Gary Bex. Are you Gary or are you Bex? That's the big question. Or are you both? Great week for So Spurs, says Sean. Great. The comments are flying in. Thought Van der Ven being back gave the team. Yes.
I was not worried that we would concede the entire first half. And I think a lot of that was down to whenever they had a counter, we had the human counter stopper, the guy who was made in a lab to prevent people from playing balls over the top. was sitting back there, and it's so hard to understate how important he is in our system, and even like I said, even against a team like Elfsbourg, like you could see the level drop off when Dragusin came back. That being said, I hope Dragusin's okay. I agree with Terry. I hope Dragusin didn't do in his ACL. It would that would be just
That'd be
at
such a
this point
shame.
you just gotta laugh. Um, but you've gotta. But he's at this point we need warm bodies. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I thought that the Van de Ven Gray partnership worked really well for against a team that didn't really have a lot of the ball and wasn't really giving us a lot of aerial questions. I think it might not work as well against teams that do, but
Mhm.
we didn't have to worry about that. So
I feel like we could do with a lone centre back. Like we've got a lot of bodies in there to try and I think there's other priorities more important right now. When you've got Gray, Van de Ven, and Romero as options, and Davies as options, like you've got 4 players there who can kind of do a job, but one of them gets injured and it feels a bit flaky. I think we just need that fifth. But it doesn't have to be anyone amazing. It could be, I've heard this Davidson Sanchez guy from Galatasaray
this
is a good fit for our
this
system.
there's this English center back playing at Bayern that we could just do like a double deal.
Oh, is it Eric Deer or something, isn't
I
it?
think it's Eric
Eric
Deer.
Deer.
Yeah, Eric Deer.
Eric Deer. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we
he
could do with
is.
him on loan.
I've heard he's made waves, but yeah,
Yeah.
I think we could do with bringing in another another center back. Though I can appreciate. I kind of am. Obviously, you take what you can get, but I am of the opinion that if we can get like a loan deal for a player, I think we take that just because like better options will obviously always be available in the summer rather than January,
Yeah.
and especially for like a center back, you're really looking for someone who's already out of favor at their current club, and that's the only reason you're really going to get rid of a player like that, because like center backs don't really rotate out as much unless you're Tottenham, where they get injured every other game. So those kind of players are your rock, and you're not really going to sell your rock in the middle of the season. So I
Hmm.
do think that there's going to be a little bit more like I do think there will be more better options in the summer, is what I'm saying. Not saying if we are offered a chance to buy someone at a value that we determine is good, we shouldn't do it. But I do think that a loan option wouldn't be the worst idea either.
Yeah, I agree. I think we've got to be careful. Like Ange always does plan and sign players he believe are long term options for the club. Someone said he's only ever there for a short time, but he acts like he's going to be there forever. Like he keeps the club's best interest in mind, and I can't see him sanctioning the idea of wasting a load of money to get a body in for the sake of it as a fifth choice. I think it will be someone like, or the other thing you can do is you get someone like a Kinski style type, but for a centre back where it's like 19, 20, high ceiling, not expecting to start every week, going to phase him and take over Ben Davies' role in a season or two and kind of work his way up the ranks with us. Ruddy brilliant. These matches are worth all the crap we put up with. I agree, Wilson.
Yeah, it's you can't get a whole lot better than 3 academy prospects scoring their first goal for the club, one after the other. And I mean, realistically, after Ajayi scored, I think everyone on the pitch knew what the goal for the rest of the game was. That was to get Mikey Moore's goal. I thought he screwed it up because he had a really good chance where his first touch let him down a bit, and it took him directly into the goalkeeper. But he I'm glad he got it at the end.
Yeah. And did you see Ange pretend to pull his hamstring?
I did not. I saw
That
him
was
go for
funny.
the ball.
Then,
But
I
I
need
mean,
to send it to
realistically,
Mohammed.
he's going to be playing left back for us by the end of the season.
Yeah.
Considering we've already got Sarr there, and we know how Sarr's been injured, so he'll probably get injured again. And I don't know. Maybe Ryan Mason will have another crack at the midfield too.
By the way, Dragon D's nuts. When you signed up to the members thing, you did make me laugh out loud when I saw that name come through onto our. Do we call it our roster, Deej?
Sure.
Onto our
Yeah.
roster.
Well,
Yeah,
American. We'll use an Americanism. I have to use y'all's Britishisms. Oh, there's another Americanism.
yeah, it's British. Good to see Dragson walked off freely though. Maybe it's just all that stung. Hopefully it's a 2 or 3 week thing, not
The
a
thing
2 or
is
3 month thing.
especially with the way that we are, I think anytime anyone even has a scare, you're not putting it back on the pitch now. Because even though I do think it's very important for us to have missed the next round, Elfsborg never really looked all that likely to score. So we were able to play Sarr in a position he hasn't played really, and move Davies back to center back, which is I'm fine with Davies at center back still. But yeah, I do think I'm hoping it was just a precautionary thing, and Ange was just thinking we simply cannot lose another player. I didn't like the way that it looked in the slow-mo from what I
No, it looked bad in the
saw.
slow-mo, didn't it?
It
Yeah.
did, but hopefully it was just a strain. It's yeah, like you said, like maybe like a few weeks at worst, and he's able to remain there to provide cover as we're getting Romero and Van de Ven
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. Richard says these youngsters have been thrown into the deep end and coped fantastic. Just imagine them next season when the more experienced players we have will be the most talented young squad in Europe. Yes,
I
we
mean,
will.
yeah, we've obviously holding on to Mikey Moore meant that we were going to be there. We were going to be there pretty soon anyway. But yeah, I think that the recruitment that we've had of young players like Berval and Archie Gray has been fantastic. And then also, obviously, we've got Mikey Moore, you've got Dane Scarlett, you've got Lancashire, you've got Young, you've got Ajayi, you've got Olisesi, you've got Abbott, you've got Divine, you've got Vuskovic. It just goes on and on and on. And all of these players are so exciting. And will all of them pan out? No, it never works like that. Every academy in the world probably has a player that their fans assume is going to be like a world class player. But
Mm-hmm.
there are only a handful of world class players, so they can't all be world class. But we
Hey,
have.
the class of '92, the Pochettino era of Lloris, Walker, Vertonghen. Who else do we have in there? Ericsson.
I'm saying every player at every academy in the world, not ours.
Yeah,
Every
but
player at ours will definitely be
ours are
world
like
class.
here.
Ours will all be world class, obviously. Like I didn't think I had to say that. No,
Think
I'm
how
kidding. But
think how far.
even if like one or two of these pan out to the level that they look like they're going to pan out for, we will be set. Like that's so good. I hope that we're able to continue to bet in these youngsters after the injuries level off a bit. It would be nice.
Yeah, I don't want them to suddenly disappear. I hope they keep challenging and getting rotated and getting their chances when other players come back. We're just going to prioritise some of the members' comments quickly, so we've got quite a few, but we'll come back to the others as we get time. Greg, remember that the under-21s did win the league last year, so top players coming through. Yeah, that is true. And we saw the drop-off in the under-21s when we brought the ball into the first team, which is a good thing. Like, you want to see them come through, and that happened. And we offloaded some Susat Bell and is it Yang? What's his name? Not Yang. Oh God, Santiago as well. Because they're blocking pathways for these other great players. But the academy does seem to be doing a great job. So yeah, Ross, one of our more recent members as well. I love how fearless the teenagers are. Such confidence and ability, yet so young. The future looks bright. It looks lily white. Ross.
It does.
Kem's a legend as well. He's been a season ticket holder. I think he's over 40 years. Is it 40 years, Kem?
I can't imagine the mental strain that must have put on you.
He saw the bad times, but he saw the good times too.
Oh, I guess he did. I guess I forget that those is way back when.
Yeah,
before my time.
He saw Glenn Hoddle. He saw Klinsmann. He saw trophies, and then he went through the whole Premier League shift and change as football became stuffed with money and sponsorships and just evolved into what it is today, and saw Spurs kind of just grabbing on the coattails and trying to stay in that top, relevant clubs, which we have done, and hopefully we're clawing our way back to a conversation of a trophy. What else have we got? We have Burival from Soul Sniper was apologizing for getting that was a stupid booking, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was gonna say one of the Burival needs to learn the art of the Fernandinho tactical foul. Like I was going for the ball and I just accidentally managed to clear the guy out and have him land on his face. Not the he looked like he forgot which football he was playing for a second there. To use an Americanism, he looked like he was. It was good. It was good tackling for him. It would have right at home on the gridiron here. But I think that I think he, especially at the game state it was, there was just no need to get a silly yellow. So I'm hoping that that's all that was. If he did get injured, I will cry myself to sleep tonight. Yeah.
Kem, just on our way home, good man, going to the midweek games. I used to do them before I had a 3-year-old and a puppy. Kind of made it a little harder in the midweek games. I still do all the home games, but I kind of almost miss standing at White Hart Lane Station in the rain on a winter's night after a win in Europe. It's just all so worth it. The happiness as you go home, despite the kind of the come down of it all. It's just brilliant. But it's also very painful when you lose to FC Karabakh at home on those nights. But you have to ride with the tough nights for the good nights. Neil Spector, the legend. Bury Vale tackles like skulls. Yeah, he does. As long as he passes like skulls.
Ray Lewis. I don't know how many defensive players from the NFL you guys know, but that's the best I could come up with off the top of my head. Here's a stat from the Tottenham's official Twitter account. Mikey Moore is now the youngest English goal scorer in major European competition history, passing Jimmy Greaves.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because Kane didn't actually score that young in Europe, did he? He was like 21.
No, remember he had all the loans to Norwich and Leicester and whatnot.
Yeah.
Before he broke into the first team. The Donley assist. Oh man, that was. I had to watch it like a couple times to figure out what was going on because I'm like a Zoomer and I have ADHD brain. I have all of the like YouTube videos set to run on 2 times speed because my brain is cooked. Well, because most of the time it's like news stuff. Because I unfortunately have to keep up with American politics. Yay!
Do you watch our pod on 2 times speed when you rewatch?
No, of course not. That halves the ad revenue.
You do, don't you?
No, I don't. I said on Twitter, not on. I don't watch our podcast on Twitter. I listen to it on Spotify to fall asleep. But anyway, I saw the video of it and I was like, what happened? Because the ball's over here and then the ball's in the back of the net. I was like, what happened? I watched it again. Ball's over here, ball's in the back of the net. So I had to slow it down. This is like the first video I've slowed down in a while. I was like, it's just an utterly ridiculous pass. Oh man, our youngsters are
does he get? I wonder if we'll reloan him next year or start to bring him in. I assume let's not ruin this momentum. Let's get him another great loan and then make him a part of that team. K-Dog, bloody legend. My small YouTube the Oh-So Spurs crew for staying positive and realistic in a sea of miserable YouTubers that can't control their emotions. Keep doing what you're doing. We'll lose again and we'll need you. You got to stick with us when we win as well, though. We can't just be the tonic when we lose. We can't just be like sat here all alone.
Well, he's here when we won now, so we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, but when just be with us when we're playing QPR next season in the championship, we'll be all good. I'm just kidding. Obviously, we're not relegated. But yeah, it's way more fun to be. It's way more fun to be happy than it is to be sad. I've got enough to be. Tottenham, I refuse to let you take any more of my happiness.
And I just want to get to Hugh's question as well. I've been waiting for a while and he's a member, and I want to make sure I remember this always go. And I want to answer Ange Smith. I don't normally see you in the comments, I think, Ange, but you had some good points in there. Tackles like Ed Reed.
Good call. That was the other one I was weighing up for. I was gonna say Luke Kuechly because that's my hometown player. I don't know how many people here watch football, so I'm not gonna speak too long on it. But that was one of my favorite players growing up. But I figured he might not have made it all the way across the pond.
I don't know who that is. I'm not gonna lie.
I figured.
Is it an American football guy?
Yeah.
Like soccer or like American football?
American football.
Okay. So I wouldn't know. Yeah. No. Been going for 58 years. I was 6 years old with my dear dad. Sorry, big sneezer. Yes, seen great times, but the worst. So you were there for the fun of those relegation fights as well, Kem. And you stuck with us and you still go every week. We must see you for a beer. Sai, Johnny and I are season ticket holders in the South and East stand. So if you're around, mate, it would be really good to have a pint with you at one of our next home games. Probably Man United, I think my next one is. So that'd be cool. Neil, what did you think of the QPR loan video? The
I
Squid
think that
Games one?
people need to learn that there are other things about South Korea rather than besides the Squid Game. At least they didn't have like they didn't have the Bentancur video as the preview. That would have been probably the worst thing they could have done. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's intentionally malicious, but I wish that I've seen so many players from South Korea now that have been announced using Squid Game esque things, and obviously Tottenham posted the red light green light thing with Son, and it's like not harmful, but like I get it. You know that they're from South Korea and Squid Game's in South Korea, but can we get like a little stronger? Like
Yeah, but if I
maybe
was signed for the South Korean team, do you reckon they'd announce me with a cup of tea and a scone,
yeah, and then a picture of Margaret Thatcher
like
behind her.
driving a Jaguar, and wearing a really tight black suit? Maybe.
You just want to look like James Bond.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Doesn't he drive an Aston Martin? I don't know. I'm not.
he does, yeah, but if you can't afford an Aston, you buy a Jaguar.
Okay,
That's what you, yeah.
Wouldn't know.
Okay, David. It's
Okay.
not Orange Postecoglou. How am I pronouncing it wrong?
Is it Ange? Is it Ange or Ange?
Am I going?
I'm assuming he's taking umbrage with Ange. So so Ange. Okay. I will
Ange.
call him Ange from now on. I promise. I apologize. I'm doing the best that I can.
Sorry. I'm speaking the Queen's or whatever it is. Yes, Ange Postecoglou. Apologies for getting that wrong. What else do we have? Is this right? Scarlett cannot be loaned now. Correct.
Yes. From what I saw someone else say in the chat, I cannot give the validity of the statement, but I will believe it because I don't want to go check. I guess that means that I think you're right that Lankshear's going out. I think it'll be good for Lankshear to get some consistent minutes. But that being said, I think it's also good to have a third striker. But Lankshear, I think Lankshear definitely has the build to play very well in the championship. He seems to have been a player who's kind of muscled up a little bit faster than I'd say most players do, which is why I think that going to the championship and being able to use that, like learning to use his body in a more effective way against one of the most physical leagues in the world still, even though it's not a top level league, I think that'll be really, really good for him. Yeah. And like if we can find somewhere like we found for Young, getting him consistent game time, then it will. I'd love for that to happen.
Yeah. And so Dane is our forward signing. I assume you're just having a little tongue-in-cheek comment there. It would be if we get Tell, I would accept coming out of January saying Tell and Kinski, we needed a winger and we needed a backup goalkeeper. Most importantly, I'd be like, I would have ideally liked a centre back and a left wing back as well, but I would say the minimum was done to get us through.
Hello. In a coma.
In a coma, new member. Welcome,
Hello.
mate. Thank you for
Sometimes when I'm watching Tottenham play, I wish I was in a coma, but hopefully that's fine us now. Yeah, I don't think I'd necessarily be happy with just Tell and Kinski. If you go to Neil's comment there, I think even if we agreed to a dribbling deal for the summer, I think I would like that. Obviously, if we could get him now, I would love that too. But I do think we need more than one outfield signing, and either Dibbling for the summer, or like you mentioned, like a center back on loan, or a wing back. Though it looks like, I know people might be upset that we didn't go harder at Patrick Dorgu from Lecce. I think just went to United for a relatively cheap fee, but after watching him play a little bit, he is Pedro Porro on the left, which means he's really good at bringing the ball forward, but has a lot of question marks defensively. And I think that, especially with the way that we play, I think that it would be we would be better served to bring in someone who is more defensively sound, especially because I feel like we already have options at left back, like Destiny. I feel like if we're bringing someone in on the left, we would want someone who has that sort of defensive acumen, even maybe more so than their attacking output. So
Yeah.
do you respond to chat? Says Hippo Nerd. Yes, I do respond to chat, and Jim gets there eventually.
Where is that one? Where is that one? Do you respond
Right
to chat?
below in a coma.
Yes, we do respond to chat. Hi Hippo. We constantly go through the chat, but we just prioritize the member comments first, but we do get to members as well. And just welcoming Inacoma. Hopefully see you in our members WhatsApp group as well, Inacoma. Our little happy space. I would say if you're a misery guts and you're purple and gold and you want to drag us down, just don't sign up, because one bad egg spoils our happy safe space that we have.
Believe
Which
me, we
now
know that
Ridley's
here in
going to
the
be a
US.
member of as
Oh,
well.
hello.
The legend. That is
Hello.
Ridley 82.
Yes,
Hero.
Soul Sniper agrees with me. Dorgu is more reckless than Poro. I have now deemed him the Dorgu expert. So what I said is obviously right because he said it too. I guess maybe they said it. But I think I mean obviously he's supposed to be more reckless. He's a wingback. Man United play as a back three. They're supposed to be like that kind of um they're supposed to be that kind of they're supposed to do more attacking than defending. Like that's why
Yeah.
you play three center backs. We saw that when we tried that. Obviously that's not the way that I personally want to play. So I'm fine with not signing wingbacks.
I do.
Ange Smith says Ange in. See, I told you. I'm getting the pronunciation down. I'm sorry. I promise. I'm trying.
And we're getting it right. And yes, Hippo, we will give us a question then, and we will go through your question. Just let us know. And Ross gets a badge. Can dump that A. Can dump that A. Dump that A.
What do you think of the atmosphere around the club? Seems very negative, but can we still? I don't think we'll be able to finish in Champions League spots. We can win the Europa League. That is, I think, our clearest path to that. I believe is our clearest path to the Champions League. Do I think the Champions League is make or break for us? Probably not. But I think realistically at this point, the most important thing to do is to break the perception of Tottenham as a team that can't win trophies. And despite our seeming like lack of despite our lack of acumen in the league, we have honestly probably I do believe that we've sacrificed league games to win games in cups. Like I think that it was a conscious choice to ensure that we won against Hoffenheim, to make sure we came in that top 8 and ended up actually getting in top 4. And then our players were dead on their feet by like minute 50 against Leicester. We didn't really have a choice unless we wanted to play all of the kids. But I do think we are prioritizing the cups, and I think that you're seeing our league position suffer a little bit. So no, I don't think that we'll finish in the Champions League places this season, which is fine because I think that, like I'm saying, I think that we've put ourselves in the best position we possibly could have. We're up in the second leg going into the Carabao Cup final. We're still in the FA Cup. We're still in the Europa League. We finished in the top places, so we get to skip around, which is massive. And I believe, like Sai said, we get a second leg home fixture, which is always huge in these games, especially now that away goals aren't tiebreakers.
Oh, they don't count. Yeah.
It's just who scores more. So we'll have the crowd behind us. And even if we can win one of those cups, we do get European football next year. Even if we finish 20th, which we won't. But we have given ourselves the potential to have European football next year, even though we probably won't get it through traditional means.
Yeah, we've got 2 ways into it. And my whole thing of like the Europa League not being good enough is so long gone. Like I'm happy with the Europa League. I'd prefer the Champions League, but I feel like I'd rather be in a competition that I don't have to play Liverpool, Real Madrid, and Barcelona if I want to win it. I know those nights are great. I love going to the lane and watching us play those teams. But the Europa League has its advantages too, right? And because of this the stadium stuff, the concerts, hotels, all that stuff, we get like I think about 50 million extra a year, which is effectively the Champions League money from extra means, which means we're less reliant on that competition as well when we have a year or two out. Oh, Ridley, it's Ross. Ross is Ridley, yes, from it. Yes, okay. Spurs, if you don't know Ross, he runs Tottenham Simpsons on Twitter. So yeah, he's part of the crew. He gets it. Ross gets it. Although he's mainly I think you mainly do Blue Sky now, right? I don't think you're on Twitter because there was some weird people on there being weird. Anyway, we're getting the treble, FA Cup, Carabao, and Europa and Champion. All right. I mean, if Ange gets one
we are
trophy
winning
this year,
the league. I didn't specify which league.
Yeah. If Ange gets one trophy this year, he is our most successful manager in 20 years. If he gets two, he's our most successful manager in 30 years. If he gets three, he's our most successful manager ever.
Maybe. Depends. I feel like
trophies.
I mean, in terms of trophies, yeah, but I think the Europa League was a bit more prestigious back in the day because I believe that the traditional like the Champions League was like you had to finish first in your league and everyone else went to the Europa League, so it was a lot harder to win back then. So to answer your question, Hippo Nerd, again, yes, Tottenham is a traditional cup team. We've won before like we were purchased by a conglomerate containing one bald man and one old rich guy and others. We were what? I don't remember. We were in like the top 3 of FA Cup wins. We've
won the FA Cup.
Weren't we the first non-league team to win an FA Cup or something like that?
Yeah.
And like way back in whenever we've won 2 European championships. Obviously not the Champions League, but we won the Europa League twice. And we've won 2. We won 2 titles. We're obviously so yeah. We have pedigree to win trophies, even though it hasn't happened recently. And it seems that the universe has decided to make fun of us endlessly for that, which is why I think it's so important to get that off of our back.
Well,
I want to go back to. I was gonna say I want to go to Desmond's comment here, but we can go through to Sean's. I think that the win tonight takes the pressure off of Thursday.
I think it buys out. I think if Ange had lost or drawn tonight, it would have put a lot more pressure on Thursday. I think because you would be in a playoff situation, you wouldn't be certainly through in the Europa League. People are treating the League Cup semi-final as it would be great to go through. I hope we go through. I'm not completely expecting it. I'll still be gutted if we don't. But there'll still be this typical frothers who just throw everything out of context that you're playing currently the best team in the world away from home and you've only got 1 goal lead. And they'll treat that like it's the end of the world if you go out. Even though we've had the hardest, most ridiculous draw to get to that semi-final possible. We've done amazing. In most years, we'd have won the competition already, basically, with those.
I don't remember the last
games.
time we've been in all 3 cups this late. I think normally we've been off the Carabao Cup, or the Carabao Cup bins us off by like putting us up against a team that we lose to because we lose in cups. That's what our thing is now, apparently. But we don't, though. And under Ange, we haven't. We beat Man City. We have made it this far, and it's been great. And I do believe we can win a trophy this year. I am still hoping, because if I wasn't hoping, it would be. I think it's honestly weird if you're a Tottenham. Not weird, but I would hope that you would still have belief if you're a Tottenham fan, because yes, believe me, I'm the first to admit it's way easier to protect yourself from the hurt if you're being super like negative about the team and you're like, oh my god, we're not going to win anything, and like it's right, and we'll try again next year. But it's way more fun to be like, yeah, we're winning all 3 cups, then we're gonna not lose a league game for the rest of the year too, and it's no one's ever gonna get hurt ever again. It's just I think yeah, I believe because cups are inherently like cups are fun because the best team doesn't always win. Like, and I think you'd be hard pressed to find someone who says that we're a better team than Liverpool, but that doesn't matter right now. Right now, all that matters is the number of goals in the tie, and the goals we have 1 more than they do, and they don't have any, which is kind of crazy. It's like one of our only clean sheets this year
is mad, isn't
against
it? And
the domestic competition is against Liverpool and City. I mean, obviously there are other ones, but But yes, I do believe that we can win cups. I believe that we have a decent chance at the Europa League as well.
Yeah.
We can take a look at the potential draws. I think I've seen them in the chat a couple of times. We can go back to that in a second. I want to go to Desmond's question though, because I mentioned it and I don't want to skip it.
Okay, then we'll go back to Cam afterwards.
Team looks disjointed in the middle with too many backward passes and no one driving the ball forward. We look dangerous out wide, but when we need to release the wingers, we didn't. I kind of agree with that, and I think that is sort of. I think that actually got a lot better when we brought on Basuma, and I know that Basuma is a much maligned character in Tottenham at the moment, but I think that he's our best natural number 6, and at least until we get to see Archie Gray play there, maybe because Archie Gray can basically play every position really well, it seems. But I think that Bentancur has a habit of vacating the 6th position a little bit too easily, and it leaves our center open, and also doesn't allow for him to be like the metronome that we kind of want the 6 to be in possession. So I think that obviously that's not his fault. He isn't really a 6. He's either like maybe a double pivot, or he's more of an 8, and you can see that in the way that his instincts are on the pitch. But I think that having a player who is a born and bred 6 is
we desperately need that in the summer. We
Yes.
need a born and bred 6 in the summer. Like, I'm not sure what we won't find in this window, but question: are these games wins in the week sacrificing our league games on Sunday? I would personally risk the idea of sacrificing Brentford and put all my eggs into Liverpool.
Yeah.
Not fully throwing. I'm not saying like play all the kids. I'm just saying don't risk starting Van de Ven and Romero against Brentford. Give them a bit more time.
Maybe,
but
maybe
start play half
bring
each
them off
or
against bring them off after 45.
Yeah.
Like we did with Van de Ven. I liked that we brought off Van de Ven, and I liked that we brought off Son, even though we weren't winning. I think that it shows that while we are prioritizing the cups by playing them, we're not going to go to the level of risking ruining or furthering our injury crisis. At least if we can help it. We'll have to see what happened with Dragusin, but I'm hoping for the best.
Well, we'll quickly whiz through the other members' questions.
Hippo. But we've responded basically every Hippo question. Hippo was my anointed commenter of the day, so I'm just going to respond to everything Hippo says. Who was the guy scoring the second goal? Do you know him? Yes, it's Damola Ajayi. He's come up through our academy. This was his first time playing first team football for us. You wouldn't know it based on the way he played. I think he played fantastically. He scored the kind of goal that I want our wingers to score. And the kind of goal I think Ange wants our wingers to score. Sorry, Ange. Wait, Ange wants our wingers to score. And I think he will. I really think he's going to do quite well. If you want to see more of him, I'm sure he will feature for the academy again. And you can. I actually don't know how to watch it if you don't want to pay a bunch for Spurs play. And even Spurs play doesn't show like half the matches. Too much to my annoyance. But yeah, follow Lily White Rose if you want to learn more about our academy team. He is the best account out there when it comes to knowing which players to look out for, knowing which players to remember the names of, and he's a really good account on X, and I don't know if he's on Blue Sky, but
find him. You'll find him.
Find
him. Quickly whiz through because we've got quite a few to get through, and I want to get through all the members' questions. There are 2 Rosses. There's only ever one Ross, which you two are gonna have to fight it out, and we'll keep the one who wins. We'll just put you in some kind of arena somewhere and arm you both with, I don't know, some sticks.
I think I'll pass.
Well, if we win the Premier League, there you go. Immovable object reaches unstoppable force, hits an immovable object unless you get points deduction. So who was got? Oh, in a coma.
Hold on, I want to see. What was? I actually am curious. What was the average age of the players on the pitch at the end of the match? It had to be like 17.
Fizzy. We do live broadcasts.
Let's see.
Most of us are typically at the. We're all over the world. Teachers in the US, Size in Dubai. That gives time. Stu's in Dubai. That gives time different issues. And then Johnny, Sina, season ticket holders. So when it's a home game. I can't go midweek anymore because of family commitments, but I just go to the league games on the weekend. So when it's an away game or European night, you'll typically get a live stream off us. That's the answer. Yeah. And in a coma, do you think Tell is coming to us because it's odd we agreed the fee? I think as I understand it, his agent has been told by 3 or 4 different clubs there's Spurs, there's Man United, there's Chelsea, and another, that they're all interested in him. They're going to wait to see if everyone puts their proposals forward, and then he's going to make a decision. As has been accepted, we've lumped up the money quickly and offered him the wages he wants. But we just got to accept our position in football, right? If Liverpool or someone like that puts the same money down, he's probably not going to pick us. So I think he's going to reflect on it overnight, and we'll probably find out tomorrow or the day after whether he's going to join. So look, you want to wake up to a here we go with a Tottenham sign. I think Arsenal were rumoured to be interested as well, which will be not very nice if they do that. But let's not bring the mood down. Yeah, so there's loads to forward to. I think we've got to wrap up there. Unless there's any other questions from members, I'll quickly go over them. If not, thank you for tuning in. We've got some more videos dropping. So I did an interview with Mickey P. Carr today. He was a finalist on Britain's Got Talent. You can find him on the internet, Mickey P. Carr. Have a look at him. It's like 14 million views in there. So he's a comedian and he's also an author. He wrote a book called The People's Shame, which is a book about football clubs and how fans can get more control of them. But it's not like all this like Levy in, Enoch out, blah, blah, blah stuff. We don't get involved with all that. It's just about, he's come up with this concept alongside Kieran Maguire, who we interviewed before and wrote The Price of Football, that if every fan, or like every major fan of every Premier League club, a home or away, like abroad or in the home country, they included overseas fans as well, was to invest, I think it was something like £10 a month to have a share in the club, there would be enough money to buy every single Premier League club and put it under fan ownership, make the Premier League twice as rich as it is currently. It would get twice as much money you do from broadcast, so it'd be even richer. And the fans would have full control of their clubs. So it was like quite a cool concept and a bit different to your typical, like, I want to swap this billionaire or stake for another one. So anyway, I'm going to release that one. That was pretty cool. And then we obviously interviewed Poch's coach and Ange's head of sports science. You can find that, Anton. He was absolutely class.
Somebody asked about the average age. I just did it real quick. It was, if I did my math right, it was 22 and a half at the end of the game.
22 and a half.
Yes. Unfortunately, we had old man Ben Davies and our second oldest player on the pitch, if I'm not missing anybody, Brandon Austin, really dragging the age up there. We had Mikey Moore, Bearval, Gray, and Ajayi as our teenagers. Scarlett's 20. Yeah, and then everyone else is Stars 22.
Yeah, so lots of because people often overlook how young Dragusin is and stuff like that. It's just crazy. Brandon Austin must have been one of the older players on the pitch.
Yep, 26.
Crazy. Right, we need to wrap up. Up the Spurs, everyone. Much love to you all. If we sign a player this window, you will get a scout report from Deej on our YouTube channel within 20 minutes of that signature hitting the paper. Watch this space, but it depends if we sign or not. Hopefully, we've done the research. He's watched Deej has done the research. I'm here ready to hit record. We'll make it happen. All right. Up the Spurs, everyone. Good night.
Correct.
Good night, Sean. Much love to you, my friend. And thank you again for supporting the show, your donations and everything, and always being such a great part of this since the start. Same to you, Howard, and same to you, Dragoon D's Nuts. And I'll leave you with the Rob Daly outro of our show. This is actually Rob Daly.
Welcome to Oh So Spurs. Calling all Spurs fans from the South Stand, the Shelf, Sydney, Seattle, Seoul, and everywhere in between. It's Oh So Spurs.